Hey, profit takers, it's your girl here. It's Victoria. Happy Friday. Yay. All right. So today I'm just going to, chime in here for for a moment to talk about market timing and forgiving yourself. So when I first learned how to trade, I would wake up and I would get to the chart and I'm like, how did I miss all this stuff? Like I would see all these indicators just firing off and I'm like, I could have taken that trade. I could have done this. I could have done that. But I didn't realize that I myself was just not available, right? And when we first moved here, it was the quarter Q4 of 2019. So it was just right before the entire world shut down. So I'm just opening up my notepad real quick because I want to make sure you guys have these timings, right? Because I don't want to go off, right? So everything is obviously based off of Eastern time when it comes to showing up at the market. But I had zero clues, okay? I had zero clues on what I was doing because I don't think whenever I was starting to learn that that was even something that was being taught. I think it was when I got into the space, it wasn't like a step 1, step 2, step 3, because at that time I was learning from network marketing because that's what brought me into it. And I thought that, okay, no one really, it's like people assume that some of this stuff when you're coming in as a brand new person. And it's not like anyone just took me by the hand and says, hey, Victoria, let's do this. I didn't have, a mentor like that because you're just kind of thrown into, you're just kind of thrown into everything with everyone. So you're just sitting there trying to figure it out. And that's what I was doing, trying to figure it out. Okay. So it wasn't until I found the Steve Murrow training, BTMM, is when I started to understand market timing. Okay. So basically Asia is 8 to 11 Eastern, right? London is 2 to 5 a.m. Eastern. And of course, London, we know, starts, technically it starts at 8, but when the bell rings at 9:30, everything kind of goes with stock markets and whatnot. So all of that stuff is all based on Eastern time. And, work, my 9 to 5 is New York time. So 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm hosting meetings. I got stuff to do. At the time when I first started to learn how to trade, I had like 45 people who would report to me. So I'm balancing trying to learn how to trade after work. But I'm not really able to fully trade because I hadn't trained my body to wake up, right? So I would literally wake up, my first meeting, don't let it be a Monday because sometimes I'll have a meeting at 4:30 in the morning. But it got better, right? Then meeting started at like right at 5. So it was so bad, guys, that I would roll out of bed 30 minutes before I had to be on a meeting. And then I'd be on the meeting. But then I decided, I need to start, really getting up earlier and being available, just mentally waking up instead of rushing from the bed to the coffee to the computer, right? Trying to be present. It's horrible. I know. But anyway, long story short, I finally got to the point to where, I trained my body to wake up, right? First it was, my alarm went off at 2:30 and I'd be up by 3. And then prior to that, now my alarm goes off at 1. Then I have another alarm. I have another alarm that goes off at 2, so that I'm up at 2:30, right? So my husband has an alarm and his actually talks to him. But we're not going to talk about him because he's an alien, okay? He's always been able to get up early and work the whole entire day and then not even to take a nap. I take naps, okay? And every time I take a nap, and it's like clockwork, I promise you, it is the same time almost every single day. He will come in here and I'm always taking a nap in the living room on the recliner. So he'll come in the living room and he'll be like, what y'all doing? Me and Stormy, the dog, because Stormy always wants to, of course, take a nap with me. So we're taking naps. We're taking our 45-minute nap. Jeez, sometimes I might add an extra 15 minutes. So that's me, right? But nonetheless, every freaking time he comes in there, he'll be like, what y'all doing? I'm like, what do you think? And then he'll have all the lights on. Like, what the heck, dude? I turned off the lights for a reason. I only have the windows open. Like, why you got all these lights on? Don't let him forget. He'll forget and leave the lights on. Anyway, back to the story. Market timing is very important because I think that's, on top of your mental, your mental fitness, your body, you're going to, if you really want to trade and trade the time when the market really moves, and if you have a job, you're going to have make some sacrifices. Like here, Asia is not really, like I said, Asia is not really a time that I'm going to get up and trade. But sometimes the market moves. It moves beautifully in Asia. And I'm awake. But I'm also winding down because I need to be in bed, 7:30 at the latest. Like I got to be in bed. So, so that I can get my sleep and get rested so that I can wake up. Isn't that something? So trading does require that, sacrifice in terms of training your body to wake up based on where you are. And I mean, gosh, I can't wait to get back in Central Time Zone, or when I move back to Texas. That to me would be great because waking up at 2 a.m. would be, if I stay the same, continue to wake up at the same time, I will be able to catch London, right? Which I'll be very happy. I'll be like, yeah, I get to be super greedy and get the London instead of, but sometimes I promise you, I do get lucky when I do get to the charts. When I'm sleeping, the market is behaving itself and it's setting up for me. Like that's how I feel like it's setting up for me. And so that I can come and take that trade when I get to the chart, as opposed to getting up. Because it's another thing with the Murrow, Steve Murrow, he would train people. He'll say you need to be available about 1/3 of the end of Asia so that you can catch that stop hunt, high or low, whatever, so you can make that entry into the pullback or the reversal, whatever. So I'm like, well, I'm just not going to make it because I'm not staying up. I'm not going to stay up until, I'm not going to stay up from 7 to 11 o'clock at night. And then here's London and I get a couple hours of sleep because I need to be up, to work, right? So I'm just not doing that because I've tried it. And oh my God, it is painful. So I just decided, I have decided. So you get what I'm saying, guys? You got to sacrifice. And so now I'm going into my 3rd year, okay? And I'm like feeling so good because everything that I've shared here on YouTube is pretty much everything that I've learned. And here recently I picked up on Stacey Burke's training. And to me, when I look at it and I compare it to what I've learned with Stephen Murrow's training, and what I've been sharing, how I understood it, it's just confidence, it's confluence, right? In trading, you're always talking about you need about 3 or 4 confluences. That's what people say before you take the trade. So after going through his training, I'm like, man, he says stuff a little differently, but to me, it's confluence of what I've already been doing. But sometimes we'll get away from the rules. So I got to forgive myself for not following the rules sometimes and forgive myself for making dumb entries and stuff like that. And chasing the market, revenge trading, and over risking, those are the things you got to do. You got to forgive yourself. I'm forgiving myself, so you need to forgive yourself if you've done those things. Don't hold on to them because they're going to affect you eventually in your trade. It's going to show up, okay? So remember, sacrifice, figure out what session that you're going to be available for, because there is going to be a trade in every session. You can't be up. You can't be up 24 hours. I mean, the one thing that Murray would say all the time is that, and I would laugh because I did it one time, like trying to trade everything. He says that by the time you get to the chart, you're trading, the market makers are working their 8 hours for the Asia. They call up London and tell London, hey, this is what you need to do. Move the market this way and that way, right? And then they go home and go to sleep. And then London picks up, right? And then, but they work their 8 hours. Of course, everything kind of, laps over. So you lap London into New York, and they're saying, hey, New York, here's what we did in London, is what you need to do. And they go home. And here you are still at the chart for all those sessions. And they went home and went to sleep. Oh my gosh. Anyway. All right. So if you do decide to pick this thing up, guys, I highly encourage you to pick the sessions that you're going to be able to trade comfortably. And you're going to have to sacrifice something because, most of us do have 9-to-5s. And for those who don't have a 9-to-5, boy, you better get to learning how to trade. Okay? There's no excuse. I honestly think if you're living in Central or Eastern Standard Time, there's really no excuse for you. I know that you're going to maybe have to take the kids to school early or whatever. But I think if you're already up before them, then you should be able to trade. You should be able to do it. At least get in the market, get your 50 pips, 20 pips. I don't know, whatever's going to work. But I honestly think there isn't any excuse to be able to get your butt up early to come to the charts and make 3-4 figures, in the day. I don't know. I don't know what your account's like. But anyway, that's all I have to say, guys. Have a good weekend. See you in the next one. Ciao.